Ladies and gentlemen, today the very first Grand Prix event for Shadowverse Worlds Beyond has finally kicked off, and I'm going to be providing some advice on whether or not you should be participating. And at the end of the video, I've also prepared a few games from my 2 runs of Grand Prix. So one of them was 5-0 and the other one was 4-1. So if you want to check out how to pilot Roach Forest a bit more, make sure to check that out as well. So the answer to the question on whether or not you should enter the Grand Prix is a resounding yes. You get one free run and you should definitely use it. There is no downside whatsoever to doing so. Even if you win absolutely 0 games, you'll still get 150 rupees. But supposing you win at least 1 game, you will get 1 pack. And if you somehow manage to win all 5, you'll get 1000 rupees on top of that. So that is where the good news ends. I could not recommend for most players to spend any additional resources to do additional runs of this in the current implementation of the Grand Prix. This is because an entry ticket is 750 rupees. And when you look at the rewards that you can get, at 3 wins, you get 1 pack and 270 rupees. This is roughly worth 770 rupees. So you might think, oh, okay, that's not too bad. But actually, for most players that I know, they probably wouldn't open the Legends Rise ticket for 500 rupees at the moment because they're saving for set 2, right? So I, for one, would never spend 500 rupees at this point in time. So I can't possibly see this 3-win reward as an actual break even. And in fact, because of the fact that you're not even guaranteed to get 500 rupees back even if you get 4 wins, I don't even think it's worth it with a 4-win average for someone like myself, right? So that is to say, I don't recommend playing the Grand Prix anymore after the free stage, unless you have certain criteria. So the first one is you expect to win at least 3 games on average. The second one is you still want Legends Rise tickets, right? And those 2 criteria have to be made if you're looking for expected value, if you're looking to grind essentially. And the other criteria is you haven't already qualified to Stage A and you want to be in Stage A, because from what I've heard, the rewards will be better in Stage A. So if you're confident in yourself, it is still worth playing to try and get to Stage A. But supposing that you just want to be in Group B, that's also worth it, because when you reach the second stage of the Grand Prix, all the players that made 4 wins or higher are segregated into Group A. And so if you're in Group B, it means you're versing equal players who are of a lower skill level, essentially, right? So your games will be easier as a result. And on top of that, that is when you'll want to qualify for the final stage by going 4 wins in Stage 2 Group B, because that'll qualify you to the final stage. And the final stage for Group B, the rewards are very good. So essentially, for every win that you get 1 additional card pack. And at 3 wins, you get 3 card packs and you get a random legendary card. So it's actually a more practical reward than Group A. Group A is a chance of getting the flare, right? And some people already have really good flares. So I mean, I don't really think that you need to rush for cosmetics, to be honest. I think it's not really as impactful as you might think. Obviously, the leaders give you the flares, you can enter tournaments, and there's so many of these Grand Prix events over the lifespan of the game, so you don't need to rush for it. If you want to build your collection a bit more and you're not super confident in being able to win in Group A, Group B is a perfectly valid option. Possibly even recommended for some people, right? So yeah, essentially, don't play any non-free runs, in my opinion. I don't think it's worth it. Oh, and before I forget, for those of you who are looking to prepare for the event, I highly recommend checking out www.shadowversemaster.com, where we regularly update the tier list and we have a number of decks that will be able to do well in the event. With that being said, the next component of the video will be a bunch of replays of matches I played in my 4-1 and 5-0 Grand Prix run. So if you want to learn how to play Roach Forest, make sure to stay tuned. So as you can see, I got 5-0 in the Grand Prix into another 4-1 run. So instead of showing you the 5-0 run, because some of the matches were pretty much stomps, I'll just go through the ones which I think were somewhat interesting, and we can go from there. So we're against Abysscraft here. So typically, I just want to make sure I draw into Godwood Staff. I think that's the most important component against this deck. Abysscraft, it does have some levels of threat, I think. If you can't clear the board in the mid game, you take too much poke. They can kind of go Olivia into the Mummy, Stormface you, and then maybe do that again, plus like the Rosary Claw, and then all of a sudden you're dead over 2 or 3 turns. So it is sort of important not to take too much damage all game. But yeah, I think this play is a little bit weak to Apollo, I will say. It's not ideal, but like maybe we could have played Fairy Tamer instead. But either way, I think we just serve the God good stuff here. Make sure we don't run out of resources against this deck. It's usually good. And that's what I mean, like you leave anything in the board, they either face, they drop like Razor Claw on you. Or whatever it's called now. Rage of the Serpent. So I guess our general game plan is clear the board every turn. Look for an opportunity where we can poke face with Rhino Storage. I don't think we get an easy way to do this game though, based on the layout of the hand. We didn't draw any of the 0 costs, so they're probably never going to leave an empty board, but it will be like, well, after like we can actually roach them, right? They're not going to leave like an empty board when we can actually roach them, but yeah, I'm just setting off. And I figured just getting the healing here is fine instead of saving for an OTK. We don't seem to have anything in hand that will let us kill them for 17 anyway. I'm not gonna lie, like this hand is super old. Like in hindsight, I wonder if there are better lines. Like maybe like a Lily line instead of like 2 fairies and Lily. Might have been better. But I think part of me wanted to be healthy, so they can't return lethal. Because when you do it like this, you'll obviously run to Olivia, but at least they don't evo the ghost, right? They evo the ghost, then you take 5 damage to face, it feels pretty bad. I think here, like, it's actually quite rough that they have Cerberus, I'm not gonna lie. But again, if they Cerberus, it's a final evo point, and at the very least, we get to be 16 HP against it. And then they won't have an easy way to lethal without super evo point. So I think it was okay. But the moment he does this, his play does no serve, and so like a lot of the spread is gone. And I think this hand would deal a serve anyway. But yeah, I mean, at this point, all we need to do is clear the board every turn, and then eventually we'll get an opportunity when he runs out of passing hand. In fact, I think on this turn, I'm just looking for the opportunity to poke, so I just go Buckler after poking here. I think if there's one thing I would do differently that turn, I'll probably have buff and swung. The funny thing, like, in my memory, I don't even remember, like, this guy playing this card. Like, I actually do not even remember him playing this. I think I was eating dinner, and, I looked up and I was like, oh, he... like, somehow 113, but, yeah. But yeah, we just have to... So in general, we just assume that they are on Face Dragon, unless you know, unless they show otherwise. And against Face Dragon, no, honestly, I do like Godwood stuff against Face Dragon. You usually will find an opportunity to play it as long as you don't grief early game. So against this deck, I even play the 1-3 because it's not easy for them to clear it. In fact, I think there is no way to clear it from empty board, like on this turn. Yeah, I'm just clearing the board. I think we just make a 3-3-1. Again, this is hard to clear unless he coins out for exactly the assassin. That's the main reason we did it like that. I mean, now we get 3 poke damage down. But I think we kind of realized it's on Ramp Dragon, like at this point. And because it's on Ramp Dragon, like it's it makes like our previous plays a little bit worse. We could have played differently. But you can't just assume it's Ramp Dragon at any point now. It's always Space Dragon. Like 80-90% of the time it's Space Dragon now, so yeah. And actually, it is worth like considering that this is a bit risky for us as well. Like when he's got multiple of these ramp options, he's on 8 now. He can go Garyu. It feels not great for us. But the way we play around that is we just go wide. You know, we make it that he has to trade with everything, right? Or at least he's incentivized to do so. And even forcing out Burnett here is not bad for us. We have many ways to play this. It can either be Olivia, which we got, or we could have gone Glade Evo, or we could have gone Bale and then like, you know, Bugler or Fairies, whatever. There are a lot of options. And the purpose of this is just to make his next turns a little bit more awkward, like put something that he has to clear. And then we can fire back with a number of options. Like we have Evo points still, so even Glade is still active. And it is a bit awkward for us because we don't actually have Roach yet, so we can't really look for lethal. We can't really look for Pokemon either. We just have to survive as long as we can. I will say it was probably a bit risky to before though, but never punish, never punish. I think there were probably ways to do that better. Like maybe it was like fairy communication and then overdraw on the fairies and then pay fairies maybe like. There must have been a better line. What do we do? We bounce here. That makes sense. This really wasn't awkward hand, was it? I mean, I think the play was fine. Like, you only overdraw one card. Oh, actually two cards. It was risky for sure. I really didn't want to drop Bale here. We don't want to drop like our Bale when like potentially snapping as well. It was just one of those really awkward hands. Maybe it does better management like on previous hands. I will note that like at this point of the game, I feel like it's pretty smooth sailing. I think it's unlikely that we would lose. Like when Dragon's out of super Evo points, it changes the game flow significantly. Like even though at this point of the game we're not chipping him like much at all, but we feel very comfortable. Like even if he has the best spin slot access to all of these, like if he has Twilight Drake, we have Lily, right? So if they don't have Twilight Drake, they just die. But yeah, they do have it, so we lose the entire board. But I don't think we really care, to be honest. I think here this turn, we just have Lily and Roach most likely. Oh, did I not even Roach him? I guess I don't need to. Guess we don't need to Roach, yo. I'm surprised we did Roach there though. Why didn't I Roach? I think it was safe to do so. A bit weird. I think I wanted to clear my board a bit, but still. Yeah, it's strange. Oh well. Probably worth noting here that like with a 5/5 board, I don't really think there's any good ways to play. Like, even if he goes Twilight Drake, he just dies to Roach next turn. So I feel like there's no issues with like leaving the Forte on field. And as we saw, he had to end up trading anymore. And then here, I think we do have lethal. So I think this one was a bit of a odd spell boost deck. I don't think it was a traditional one. It was the one with the Dirt Room package mixed in. So, of course, you never know when you're mulliganing, but either way, I think usually I'm looking for options to either get card draw, pressure early, depending on how our curve looks. Alternatively, just Glade so we can get through Anangrea. So those are kind of the main options we usually look at when playing against Runecraft. And you do typically just tempo out. You just force them to use Stormy Blast if they have it. But it looks like they didn't have it right, so here I just decided to go aggressive. Going to 4 and 1-1. He didn't have Stormy Blast before. I don't feel like he has it now, but he has this card, which is actually quite strong. It's good at dealing with enemy board. I don't know if he needed to play this though. That's something I'm not sure about. Oh wait, no, this is not the one I'm thinking about. Never mind. Yeah, I guess he just plays tempo. Doesn't really matter. We clear it instantly with Glade. And although he does have the Anangrea, we have yet another Glade to clear out. So he doesn't really gain tempo in this particular situation. Yeah, it looks like we didn't even consider going for the Lily play. I think we just didn't need to. You know, we could have gone like Stray into Lily and then like Fairy, but I think we just wanted a 5/5 established instead. And then like no matter what he does next turn, we can Lily and clear. So I think that was the main consideration. But yep, with Arya, this is perfect, like the best time ever to drop this. Right, it's 4 damage to face because it's Super Eva. And we feel very comfortable, like from this point onwards. Even if he drops Q1 here, I think it's possible for us to clear it and maybe even kill him at the same time. This is quite a strong tempo reversal turn, I will say. I suspect here I just go for it. Yep. I mean, we've done the math, right? Really enough for lethal. 1 damage to face, 2 damage to face, and then we can just drop double Roach. Now, it is a bit of a more interesting combo because we don't have the 3-cost amulet, and instead we have to go for Bug Alert, but clearly it's still way more than enough for lethal. I mean, when Runecraft is in this type of position, it's usually quite hard for them to ward and heal. They need to have Declimb, and Declimb is usually online around turn 8. So this game, I believe it was Hovercraft, but of course, again, you can't know until after the fact. But this is generally a good hand. It means that we will never fall behind against their tempo. Like the Fairy Tamer on turn 2 into double Fairy plus May clears basically everything. And that's regardless of which portal deck they're on. But when they play this, it's pretty clear that they're on the proper build, so that's cool. So given that we don't need to use May, we just save it. I think here I just wanted to have the most options available. I didn't feel like getting the 1 extra card in the field made a significant difference. Which is why, yeah, I didn't go for Fairies. I went for the 2-cost instead. And here I still didn't feel like I needed to extend the May. So I feel like the Bug Alert was more easily usable in this turn. And it makes us commit less to the board just in case. And this is quite an easy board for us to deal with, if we're being real. Like, it's just a 4-4, 4-3 if you trade. And then this is very easily answered with Blade. And I think, yeah, like I said before, it's pretty comfortable. Like, next turn we can go Fairy, Fairy Convocation, and then May. If he makes anything big, we can Lily as well. I think we have so many options, but probably not in any real danger. And then, of course, he has to answer the 5-5, right? I do think it's a bit suspect that he never used the coin. No 2-drop, like for instance, but whatever. Like, the common theme about this game in particular was that, like, we were never under really that much pressure. But conversely, like, I think one thing we needed to worry about was, like, where's our Roach? Where's our Godwood Staff? We have a lot of Glade, but we don't have the other important cards, right? But I think, here on this turn, like, the reason why I went for the Bug Alert play here is because I wanted to see if I could get the 50-50 on saving Evo point. And I thought that gamble was worthwhile. Even if we miss, all that means is that we just Evo the guy instead. But having the extra Evo makes it a lot easier for us to navigate the turn. Now, I do think on this turn, there was actually a bit of a mistake. So here, I think, just looking at our hand, I should have bounced Blade here. I think that was the play. I don't think I should have left this up for tempo. I think I should have bounced this because the problem with this turn, right, is I still don't have Roach. And then I also don't have any real card draw outside of Lily. So I mean, I guess if we continue to miss, then next turn our play is going to be along the lines of, like, you know, Good Fairy, Baby Carbuncle, and then Lily drops something to 1, and then Super Evo Lily, right? Ping the one thing and then kill something else, and then from that point onwards, if we need to drop Bale, we drop it or whatever. And then I think, like, obviously we get a draw off Lily, but I think it's not as clean as Glade, potentially. However, I would say that given that you do just get one draw off Lily, it might be better to have a 5-5, force out a Super Evo here. And then you still get one draw instead of 2, right? So it's probably okay. And then worst case scenario, we can even go Lily Evo again the turn after. So it's not totally doomed, but I do think we left ourselves to the mercy of drawing it out a little bit here. Like, I definitely think Glade could have been a superior bounce there, like, instead of playing extra on play point. Roach is a very good draw here, though, I will say. Perfect draw. I'll say that I drew the perfect. Because here, like, we can just go Carbuncle, refund all the play points. Here, I think we don't really have, like, because we don't really have, you know, low play point cards that replenish themselves, we have to do a bit of a quick PM Carbuncle, bounce Carbuncle. But this huge poke damage here sets us up for a 2-turn lethal. And we do probably need to top into, like, a Convocation or, like, you know, something that costs 1 or 2 play points that, like, for example, the Lambert or whatever. But because he doesn't really have any healing, like Sylvia, for instance, might have been a problem. But, like, we're not scared of Orcus or anything like that, and certainly not scared of Moa. In this case, it's just very simply, we drop all of our dudes, we play Roach, and we can just kill them. And to be frank, there were many ways to kill them here. So this one will be our last game for today's video. So I think it's against Face Dragon. So here we just get Bale. I think Bale is actually great against this deck because the way I see it is usually around the time they're dropping Forte, Bale comes down, you drop 4-4 and like another Evo card, and then they can't easily Forte and go face. Well, if they do, it's a huge risk on their end, and that's the position you want to put them in. So here you'll notice I played Lily instead of Fairy Tamer. So the reason I did that was because number one, I don't have May in order to get the tempo back immediately. Number two, I wanted to play around Searing Fire in you, right? And did I just stop Amataz? I think I did. Wait, stop Amataz? Am I that skilled? Well, if I knew I had avatars, I might have even gone for tamer. Well, no, 4/4 is already huge. No, I'm not sure. Like, but anyway, yeah, the reason we did that was just to play around, find new. But hitting the 4/4 here just feels so good. Holy moly. Yep, and so this literally just gets infinite value. Here I think we just go double fairy. So I think playing tempo is probably more important than developing the Godwood stuff here. And if he doesn't have exactly a polo, it's usually very rough for them. But he does have a polo, that's alright. Because we can answer in numerous different ways here. I think it's most likely Glade. Now, of course, if we go Glade here, it does let him coin out Forte. Or at least so he thinks, right? But if he goes Forte, we can very easily clear it, right? We have Bale in him. And Bale perfectly outfit. And so he hit us with a 7 and we hit him back with 5. He's not gonna have a board at the end. However, I think because we hit Glade, let's decide to Evo this instead. I'm not sure which one was actually better, but I figured 2/5/5s on the board of the 1/1 was definitely not bad. And Bale still had room to get reduced even more, so... Originally I was going to drop Bale, but I thought the Glade path changed things. And his Olivia here is probably the only out to what we were representing. And so again, like on this turn, like the way I'm thinking about it is I just want to clear his board, make a big board that he has to deal with, prevent him from dropping 4k on us, and then we should be able to win from there. But and perfectly, we're even able to play Baby Carmichael this turn because of like how efficient our plays were. And so we don't drop Roach again, obviously. We don't have another one, but the poke damage here makes it so difficult for him to clear, like, to ever go face here, right? If he goes face, he has to risk dying. And so when we're forcing these super evos to clear our board, and like those like ways of clearing board don't deal much damage to our face, we feel really good about that. But I think we just have lethal here. Yeah. So Carbuncle, super evo, get 1 chip damage, and then we can drop another 2-drop, and then we go double Roach. Doesn't really matter how we do it, I think. And GG. So I think Roach is probably still like the best deck of the format. I mean, I don't think I'm playing it perfectly. Like I'm only like a few days in myself because I only crafted the golds recently. But it is clearly the best deck of the format right now. I think it's worth playing. So for my second GP run, I was trying out a new build. It was running 2 avatars. But I think the concept behind this was that this improves your matchup against Sword, which has been popping up in high-low as a response to Forestcraft being a huge menace at the moment. So I was trying this build out. I did feel like avatars was good when drawn early, and then we didn't really face like, you know, Swordcraft, so we couldn't test that out. But overall, avatars did not feel bad. So that's the build that I was testing, and the other one which I went 5-0 with in the first run. So this is a build that I showcased last time, right? So old reliable, deck's very good. I think yeah, even for myself, I'm still learning new things about this deck all the time. To be fair, I'm often kind of distracted when I'm playing Shadowverse these days, and I think this is not a deck where you can be distracted. I think you need to like put 100% of your thought process in, or you're going to misplay and you're going to lose. Because it's so easy to like randomly miss lethal, or miss sequence, or play cards that you shouldn't, etc. But when you play this deck perfectly, and you draw like an actually good hand, it's unstoppable, I think. Well, apart from Kagamitsu aggro, that's kind of annoying. But yeah, at the moment this deck is 50-50 or better against most of them ever. I think Sword is the only one that's like really bad, and then Artifact is like maybe 50-50, and then everything else falls to this. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Wish everyone the best of luck with their own Grand Prix runs. Definitely recommend Forestcraft as a strong contender, especially in the current metagame. If you have the cards for it, definitely it's a lot of fun, a lot of opportunities to misplay. Even I misplay on it, but also a lot of room to grow, right? And once you master the deck, I think it's easily top 2 decks of the current format. If you liked today's video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.